Hello, Alexa here with Cologne, and now I am doing another episode with Stephen from Rutland Medical Pharmacy, and we are here to talk about something that I keep butchering. But as we know, lots of pharmacies, you think, I don't know, when you think of a pharmacy, you think prescribing pills. That's all you guys do is you prescribe pills, you try and people might assume that that's just what you guys want to do. But today we're actually talking about a different topic, de-prescribing pills.
That's it, de-prescribing.
So what does that even mean? Like, this is a term that I said, is this new? And you said, actually, it's been around for a long time in your guys' field, but maybe the public just doesn't hear this word.
No, it doesn't get talked about. And we've talked in some of our previous talks about pharmacist prescribing being the new expanded scope. And most prescribing is done by the physicians and nurse practitioners. But yes, we can prescribe, and we love that. We love the offering that we can give. So the opposite, per se, de-prescribing, which is something that probably most people haven't heard. And people might say, well, but isn't it in your best interest to pump out as many prescriptions as possible, because isn't that how you make money? And sure, we make money off of that. But we also, in my opinion, at least the way I operate, make money and have a successful business by being in the business of people and making your clients happy, making them healthy. And if you see long-term health improvements and health outcomes for people, that's not only rewarding, but it hopefully builds loyal clientele and is good for business in the long run. Think of it as a long game. So, I mean, back to de-prescribing, we can talk about probably key aspects of it, what it is, and as well as benefits of de-prescribing, if that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. You want to kick it off, or you want me to start asking some questions?
Well, I mean, just to really give a definition for, I think that would be beneficial. So pharmacist de-prescribing it's a process where pharmacists work with patients, work with clients. So very patient-specific and patient-focused to reduce or even potentially stop some medications that might no longer be needed. Might no longer be beneficial, or could even be causing harm. I mean, they don't necessarily have to be harmful. They could just be causing side effects. They could be not needed. There's many situations where that might come up. People could have multiple prescribers. Maybe they've been on it for ages and never been evaluated for that. So, I mean, that in a nutshell is sort of what we're talking about.
So for someone that maybe, let's talk about some of these individuals that you are seeing. So sometimes, you have a disease or ADHD or ADD, and you're on medication usually, or you get on medication and you're on it for life. Or how does someone go, like if someone was listening right now and they're like, okay, I'm on this for this on this, and this, but I've actually haven't sat down with anyone to talk about, do I need all three of them? Do I need all of these? Or what's the steps?
First step would be to talk to someone, as you mentioned, and your pharmacist is a perfect example of that. Not everyone has the time. I can always guarantee that we have the time, or we'll make the time at Rutland Medical Pharmacy to do that. So you should never feel, I don't want to bother my pharmacist, bother my healthcare professional. That's our job, to take care of you. And in my opinion, be patient-centered and patient-focused. So, that's an individual. It's not a cookie cutter. You can't approach everyone the same. So you come in, and we sometimes identify those situations proactively. But if you're just wondering, come on in, have a chat with us. We can sit down in a counseling room, so it's not at the counter, and spend more time than your typical interaction going through things in detail. And the assessment that we do, and there will be a detailed assessment, might result in, hey, you need these medications for these reasons. But there could be a chance where we might look at it and be able to come up with a strategy where we could either change or reduce the medications you're on, in consultation with your other healthcare professionals and your healthcare team, of course. It wouldn't be right, or even in some cases, it wouldn't even be responsible of us to just stop a whole bunch of things without consultation with the doctor, because your doctor is a real expert when it comes to your health conditions and the diagnosis of all of that too. So it's a team aspect.
Is there any patients that stand out that have recently done this with you, or do you have any stories that you've just recently or stood out?
I mean, one that actually has happened reasonably frequently, I would say, is people that are on medications for heartburn, for gastric reflux disease. Sometimes we abbreviate it as GERD. There's a lot of medications out there. Some of them are referred to as PPIs, or proton pump inhibitors, that people get prescribed them for absolutely legitimate reasons. And in some cases, now the person hasn't had symptoms associated with what it was prescribed for in years, and they're still taking it. Now, maybe they're not getting those symptoms because of the medication, but sometimes they don't actually need it anymore. And so why take that medication? Another one is there's certain medications for osteoporosis treatment and prevention, and the clinical evidence on these suggests that taking them for usually 5 to 7 years is really where the benefit is, and past that, there's not a lot of benefit. But it's so easy for someone to just keep taking it, and for a prescriber to just keep prescribing it because it's part of their mix of, maybe a half dozen or more medications, and you just keep giving it. And they feel fine, they don't necessarily perceive harm. But so those are simple ones where we could at least evaluate it and see if a person needs it. Sometimes there's cases, and we have done it, where someone has multiple prescribers because there's multiple specialists. They've been to an ER or a walk-in, their family doctor, and there should be communication between them all, and usually is, but sometimes, something gets lost in there, and at least medication-wise, we see the whole picture.
I can so see that happening, because I've been to a naturopath where they can prescribe me something, and so can my doctor. And I've actually gotten prescriptions for both. I only got the one refilled, but technically, I could just keep going. You know what I mean? Like, you could, but it's not like they're talking to each other.
No, those things can happen. You're absolutely right.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think also that people, I'm on social media a lot because of what I do, and you might not be as much, but I feel like there's a big shift in also health and making sure we're eating right, and lifestyle. People are drinking less, smoking less. Do you see people also maybe who were on a bunch of medication, and then they've done a bit of a life change, or they've gotten active, they cut out salt, like blood pressure pills or something? Like, do you see people come in and they just naturally are improving their health?
We do, and I love to see that. Again, we're in the people business, in my opinion, and so helping people be healthier, which helps your whole community to be healthier, and that's wonderful to see. And part of de-prescribing, or I'm going to throw out kind of another word that people might not have heard, but pill burden is something that certainly you'll see. Burden, right? You're taking so many pills, it can be a burden. You see people, they feel like there's a handful of pills sometimes that they have to take.
Travel with that.
Yeah, and so if you can reduce the pill burden, now sometimes it can be as simple as there's certain cases out there where 2 medications can be combined into 1 pill. It's actually commercially available that way. That doesn't happen a ton. Or strengths. Maybe someone at some point ended up having to take 2 of something, and it's actually available in 1 pill in that strength. Those situations aren't decreasing total medication, but they're decreasing pills that you can take. And that's something that we would certainly look at. But back to what you were talking about, when we do a medication review, if we see an opportunity to talk about lifestyle, we'd love to do that. I mean, we'll talk to people about healthy eating and healthy exercise and strategies to just live healthier. Yeah, and it takes time. It's not instant. lowering stress is great, but if you can do all of those things, change your diet, sometimes losing a few pounds, that's a hard thing, but those aspects of health can make such a massive difference that allow us, in consultation with your other healthcare professionals, to sometimes decrease or even stop certain medications. And I've seen it.
Amazing.
I've seen people who are maybe pre-diabetic, that are on some medications for diabetes,
to make sure that they don't
be proactive,
to
make sure they don't get it, or it's kind of just the start of it. And I've seen people make significant lifestyle changes and almost reverse that. And that's amazing to see. And again, people are like, well, how are you making money off that? Well, it's the long term, and it's about making people healthier. I mean, that's what I love to see.
Very cool. How do people that, so like, I can't relate because I'm not on a ton of medication, but there's people that, I think it must be kind of a mental thing, like you were saying, though. It's like a habit. You just wake up every day, you take your pills, and maybe you're not even in tune with how you're feeling and all that kind of stuff. So making a shift to maybe talking even to a pharmacist about this could be hard. Do you sometimes have to sit down with families, or maybe it's someone younger that can't, fully make decisions on their own? Like, I feel like sometimes this has to be, or, you're nervous to make that shift. Maybe you don't need the medication, but not saying that it's like turned into that. It's like when you go through pain and you rely on those painkillers, and if you keep going through that to get off a painkiller, it's a lot harder. But what's the support behind some of these? Is there, mostly coming to you guys, but do you guys have any other resources that help some of these clients come off maybe these harder painkillers and stuff?
Yeah, the resources are, for us, are clinical evidence, and we certainly use a lot of references. Pharmacists can't know everything off the top of our head, so we certainly sometimes, we'd love to be able to say we do. But so there are a lot of resources that we use from our side of things, and I would like to think that for the client coming into us, we can be the first resource. Now, we have available and do sometimes print off materials to give to someone, because once you talk to them, they're going home, and they can call us, they can pop back in anytime. That's what we're there for. And that's what my team and I try to make ourselves available to be able to have the time to do that. But we've absolutely done that too, where we've printed off material or prepared material and given that to the person after we support them with the initial conversation to say, hey, here's some material to help you with this once you go home. You're not on your own now. We're still here. So if there's any questions or you're not sure, come on back. We'll do a follow-up either by phone or in person.
Yeah, very cool. I know. I just think people don't really realize that. And I think over the last couple episodes, like, I didn't really think a pharmacist cared, or like, you do think of it as a number almost, like you go, you drop it off, and then you pick it up. You never really think. I think it's also bringing the awareness to the audience, the people in Kelowna, that your pharmacist is actually someone in your resources, like someone there to help you make these decisions or learn about medication. So I think that's really awesome that you guys are people first and really just want to, because I think you guys have that, unfortunately, that stigma behind it.
Sometimes I think the environment that gets created in really, really busy pharmacies, sometimes it can feel a little crazy and chaotic, and that's not the environment. In a past part of my life, I worked in those environments, and that's not an environment I really want for myself. That's not an environment I would want for my family, or certainly not my clients if they're the ones seeking out care. So that's what we really work hard to provide. I've mentioned this, patient-centered care, and that has to be specific for each individual. And then the part after that too, where I mentioned you're not just going out on your own after that, we can do monitoring. So if we recommend a change or can make a change, probably in consultation with your prescriber, we can and will do the monitoring or follow-up afterwards, just to make sure it is going okay. We often make phone calls, just as simple as that, to do that sort of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think with like, I mean, I know that they're always researching a bunch of these pills, and I don't know the extent of all these kind of things, but how often are like let's say I was on a prescription for a couple of years, and you might not have this answer. Let's say I was on it for 5 years. Is there relatively like new and better pills for it, or like do pills kind of stay the same, or like
some of them stay the same? There's medications.
I was wondering about that. It's like, do they get an upgrade, or?
There's medications that are good medications that are very safe, that have been around for decades, and we still use them. Sometimes they're cheap for people, which is, I mean, let's face it, you don't want to make decisions just based on cost, but cost is important to everybody out there. So some of these medications are good, but sometimes new ones come out that are better, newer medications that are safer or work better for people, more effective for specific medical conditions. So we see there's always research going on and new discoveries going on. But everything we do in pharmacy, at least how we should do it, is evidence-based. So, if the evidence is there to say that this one is better, or maybe over time you find evidence that says not so good. That's happened where medications have been taken off the market because the initial studies showed that they looked good and they looked safe, and then post-market you're finding something like the medications causing increased cardiovascular problems, and I've seen medications taken off the market. So both sides of it. So very, very good question.
I know. I was just thinking. I was like, okay, we're always like upgrading softwares, and I know that there's some medication out there that is, like you said, it's been around forever. It's super researched. It's super safe. I think like blood pressure pills and stuff like that. But okay, very interesting. Is there anything we missed asking about you and you want to share?
Well, I thought of something when you actually mentioned, people making lifestyle changes and maybe going on a bunch of, you kind of alluded to people going on a bunch of natural health products and things like that. And there's a lot of really great herbal products, natural health products out there that have evidence that help people. But in overall pill burden or de-prescribing, that's something we'll look at too. Sometimes those are things that I have to go to the references a little more. I can't know all of those products as well. But your over-the-counter products, your natural health products, even if they're natural, they work in our bodies like a medicine. They elicit a response in the body, and they
can have
attach to
reactions.
receptors. Absolutely. So, I mean, sometimes I've seen people where they go on social media maybe, or someone tells them about something, and they're on so many natural products just because they've been told that they work well, and we look at them all and realize they might be spending a lot of money on some of these, and some of them might be good, but some of them might not be benefiting them. So we can look at all of that too. It's all part of what we try to do for people who see us at our pharmacy.
Okay, that's a really good point. You could also be with the natural, like vitamins, pill burden on yourself too there. Like, and you don't actually know, you might, don't take advice, social media, people saying, take these pills, but it is true because you see it a lot where you're like, oh, take this if you're feeling, especially for females. I think women are targeted because we have, more intense hormones and stuff. But like you can get overwhelmed, and then you're spending also hundreds and hundreds, and you don't even know if like maybe that supplement isn't working with this supplement, and you're actually doing harm.
Definitely. So, it can happen.
So is that another resource that, like, if I wanted to come in and say I'm on these medications and I also think I need this, this, and this for a supplement, you guys can help kind of find me a path that you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that might be a case where I will fully admit that those are cases where I more frequently than with the prescription medications have to say, hey, can you give me
some time.
a little bit? I need to look some of these up, but we have the references and the resources to do that. It's all of this is about medication adherence, which is ensuring people are taking the medications how they should be when they're taking them in a safe way. It's also all about client safety, your safety, your overall health, and improving your quality of life, because your quality of life could be improved by taking less, maybe having a little more money in your pocket if you're not having to take as much. It's all beneficial.
Win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to touch on one more thing before we wrap up. How frustrating as a pharmacist when you see people or you hear people, I'm sure it happens all the time, where people are like, oh, I didn't take my medication today, or like, how bad is it to like get off track on some of these medications? Like, consistency is key, no?
It
and
is
like
the most.
kind of like, well, when women go on birth control, they tell you to take it same time, same day, right? So similar things, I'm assuming, with
yeah, it happens a lot, and I've seen statistics on medication adherence, compliance, whichever word we want to use, and you see a real range, but it can be anywhere from 40 to 60% of people that take their medication the way they're intended to prescribe. It's generally that that low in that range. Now, some of it is very understandable. Again, it could be cost. People can't afford it. It could be the overall pill burden. There's sometimes a lack of understanding. Don't have the support from family or other sources to ensure they're taking it properly. So I wouldn't say we get frustrated when it happens, but we just want to do everything that we can to help people to be their best, to be their healthiest. So when we see it, it's more about, okay, how can we help this person? If they need the medication, we could assess, maybe they don't need some of them. Maybe that's one of these cases. Great. But if they really do need it, and if they need to take it daily and chronically, like most medications to benefit them, your blood pressure example, if you're not taking your blood pressure medication daily, it's not going to control your blood pressure, and your blood pressure is going to yo-yo up and down and potentially put you at a higher risk for strokes and heart attacks and a whole nother topic. But yes,
but so also
it's important.
Are taking some of them sometimes, but you're not actually, so you're really just harming yourself, it seems like.
Potentially, and then you could put yourself in a situation where you're requiring more care. You're not able to take care of yourself if things go wrong. So we don't want to see that for anyone. So I wouldn't say it frustrates us. There's no frustration at the individual, but there could be frustration certainly on our side, where it's like, we don't want to see, we just don't want to see this person end up being hospitalized or have a serious health condition that maybe could have been prevented.
Okay, well, Siva, always enjoy our chats. I love healthcare space. It is something that is exciting to talk about, and I just love your guys' approach, and very cool that your approach also is trying to help people not being on a million pills, and really you just want the best for them. So
we do. It's patient first, and just trying to make things better for everybody is what we do, and if we can do that for most of our people, then we're being successful. And at the end of the day, you can look at yourself and be happy with what you're doing.
Feel good that you're making a difference in people's lives.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that is a wrap for our episode Beyond the Counter, and we'll be back next month.
Wonderful.
So have a good afternoon.